Hey everybody, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to be doing a little tutorial or a little introduction to oil paint, and I figured that it's way better if I create a separate video going over all my materials that I use for oil paint, because it can be quite long and there's a good few things that you need to have before you can start oil painting. It's not as simple as acrylics, where you just have the acrylic and you can just have a cup of water and a few brushes. Oil painting, it's a little different. So I'm going to be going over each product I use and all the materials that I use for oil painting. So to start off, I'm going to be going over the oil paint that I use. I use Winsor Newton Artist Oil Colour. I started out with a little set that they make. They have like a set of like 10 oil colours, and you can buy them. They're in these tubes like this. They're 21 ml tubes, and it comes with a set of like loads of colours that you need, more than enough really. And once I got through that like set, I started to buy my own individually. And you can get really big tubes of them, which I have got. I've started to get for a few of them. I like to keep my oil choice, the colour choices, as simple as possible. So using just like the simple primary colours like yellow, red and blue, and then maybe having a burnt umber or something like this to just tone down some of the colours and stuff like that, and then just white. I rarely use black. I like to just mix with those because it really teaches you how to mix, and I think it's really important when it comes to oil paint to just mix your own colours and get comfortable with that. So just selecting as simple of a colour palette as you can, and then just going from there can teach you loads about the whole process of making an oil painting piece. With oil paints, I recommend you look for this AP kind of certified badge that it has on all the tubes, and that kind of goes with anything you use with oil paints. This just means it's not toxic, and in the past I've used toxic stuff and it doesn't really, it smells, it kind of gets to me, but most oil paints you'll find that it has this AP certificate kind of badge thing on the back of the tube, so look out for that. I recommend it, especially with oil paints, because there can be a lot of like solvents and stuff that can be used and mixed and you know, put into the oil paints, which you don't really want. You want to keep it as pure as possible. So look for that sign, remember it when you're buying oil paint. But you'll find that even in the beginner sets that I got with these small tubes, they already have the AP badge on, which is great, and it's just something to know. I'll probably link down everything in this video, and maybe a link to like what the AP badge means and stuff like that. So yeah, just look out for that. Yeah, I use artist grade oil colour from Winsor Newton. So next up, I am going over the paintbrushes. Paintbrushes, I keep it as simple as possible. Don't spend too much. I've never really spent too much on paintbrushes. Maybe I should, I don't know. But I've kind of kept it as cheap as possible. Not really, I don't even know this brand. I must have got it off Amazon or something. Yeah, just keep it synthetic. That's what I kind of go for. Synthetic oil brushes, that's what I go for. Yeah, I don't think you need to worry too much about paintbrushes, especially when you're starting out. Just go for something simple. Maybe use brushes that you have from oil paint or acrylic paint, or whatever painting you've done before. Just use any brushes, that's fine. So next up, let's talk about mediums. So I kind of use a mix, and I go back and forth in between a Walnut, Alkyd medium, and Liquin. So Liquin is from Winsor & Newton. They say it's non-toxic, but I'm pretty sure this is toxic. I think after searching up, it actually is toxic. So this is the only toxic thing I kind of use in my process. It's hard because I really wanted to create a process where everything was non-toxic. But the only thing with Liquin is that it speeds up the drying times of the oil paints, which is, it's just a game changer. So, you know, as long as my windows are open and you have good ventilation in your room when you're using the oil paints, I recommend using Liquin, because it's just, you save time, you can get back to the art straight away the next day and it will be dry. So I highly recommend Liquin. Give it a go. It does have a little smell, but if you keep you're only going to use a little bit, just a little dash, and you just mix it in with your oil paint, and yeah, it's a game changer. So this is probably my favourite medium to use, even though it's slightly toxic. So, you know, it's one of those things where you just have to make that, it's whatever you feel, whatever your circumstance is in terms of your setup. Are you in a ventilated room? You know, think about that stuff beforehand. But otherwise I used like a walnut medium, and I find this medium being a super nice, smooths out the oil paint. It's really nice, and it does take a bit longer to dry. This has an Alkyd in, which I think it slightly speeds up the drying time. It's non-toxic, which is cool, and you only need to use 3 to 9 drops apparently. So yeah, and that kind of goes with like Liquin or any other medium that you use. Don't put too much, just keep it as simple as possible, only a little bit, and it will go a long way, trust me. But yeah, those are the two mediums I like to use. There's like hundreds and hundreds of different mediums, so yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole you can go down to. I recommend just going and looking, maybe asking your local art shop to see what's best for you, because some of them do different things with your oil paint. So yeah, just have a look into that. I used Liquin and a little bit of Walnut. And yeah, those are the two mediums. Alright, next up, well yeah, I use a glass palette. Glass palette is probably the best thing to get. This is literally from an old frame that I've used, and I've just like masking taped up the sides so it's like safe for me to pick up. Probably not the best like setup, but it works, so I'm not complaining, and I've used this for years, so it does last a long time. I got a paint scraper here. It's just, you can find them online, super simple. Once the oil paint dries, you can just scrape it off really easily from the glass palette, and that's it, that's done. That's the where you're going to be mixing and everything. And then I use loads and loads of these kitchen towels, paper towels, sorry, and you're going to be using a lot once you start oil painting. Yeah, just continually wipe and you know, wipe away loads of oil paint. So yeah, get a whole roll of this. The last thing that I use, or the materials that I use other than the canvas that I usually use, I can use canvas, cotton canvas, that's here. I've got a wood panel. You can pretty much oil paint on anything, just as long as it's primed, you should be good. But yeah, the last thing, to clean the brushes, I like to use the Masters brush cleaner. Now this is non-toxic, it's pretty much just a soap. If I open it up, I'll show you guys. And as you can see, it's like, this is the biggest one you can get. So you can get small tubs of it that I started out with, and they're really good and handy to have. But I was using oil paint so much, so I realised that I might as well invest little in a bigger tub of this stuff. And all you do really is, once you are done with the brushes, you'll find that you can't rinse it off with just water, so you have to use some sort of substance to get rid of it. And usually the go-to is to use solvents, and I've never really liked that. I don't like the smell of it. Even if you get like odourless mineral spirits, like it's not going to be odourless. So for my setup, this works the best because I like having low odour. I don't want to smell. I don't want to be breathing in the fumes. I find that really bad for you. So when I do clean the brushes, all I do is use water with this. So you just get the water, warm water, you scrape off as much oil paint off the brushes onto the paper towels, you just wipe it away, and then you rub all of the oil paint into the soap, and just rinse away with water, and you just repeat that process, and it's super simple. That is probably the easiest way. It's a bit of work, but it's way better than just using a solvent, and it's way safer. So yeah, Masters brush cleaner, I'll put that in the description so you guys know. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is the whole setup really. Am I missing anything? I don't know. If I do miss stuff, I will link it down below, and I'll put it all in the description. But other than that, we're pretty much ready to go to paint. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just continue now and upload a different video that I'll link eventually in this one, once it's up, of me kind of mixing and just like getting down the oil paint so that it's ready to paint, and how do I go about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this little tutorial and I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, because I'm more than happy to help. Let's just use this video as just like a way for you to just get started with oil paints, kind of know what you kind of need to buy. I feel this is the best setup for me, and I've just been using it since I have progressed through the oil paints, and I just felt really happy with this setup. Yeah, and that's it, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.